The day my daughter took down an HOA tyrant. Get down! The HOA bully, Victor Kane, bellowed, his black Glock aimed right at my daughter's head. All because she'd parked her Jeep in the wrong spot for too long. But in a heartbeat, his smug glare turned to pure panic. The gun was still loaded, but it wasn't in his hands anymore. My daughter, Lila Stone, had disarmed him faster than you can blink, her voice cool as ice. I've trained Green Berets to take out targets in 37 ways. Is bad parking the 38th? The whole neighborhood went silent, jaws on the floor. 3 minutes later, real cops rolled up, and an 8-year reign of terror started to collapse. All because this wannabe cop picked the wrong fight. The look on Victor's face when he realized his mistake? I'll carry that memory forever. Where are you reading from? Drop your state in the comments. I bet your HOA has its own power-hungry types too. We've heard from folks in all 50 states with stories just like this. What went down in our quiet little community could happen anywhere. When Lila came to visit, it'd been 6 months since we'd seen her. Pinewood Estates was usually calm, but the HOA had eyes everywhere. I'm Ray Blaze, a retired NASA rocket scientist, and my wife Clara and I had lived in this fancy suburb for 15 years. We'd followed every absurd rule. Beige mailboxes, grass exactly 2 inches tall, checked weekly with a ruler. Even approved flower types for our yard. Only drought-friendly blooms allowed, per the landscaping overlords. Lila pulled up in her rugged military Jeep around noon. Even from the window, I could see she was beat. She just finished a 72-hour non-stop training session with her Green Beret recruits and driven 3 hours to visit. At 36, Lila's 12 years in the military made her a pro at training elite soldiers in tactics and mental toughness under insane stress. Tough? That word doesn't even cover it. But that day, she looked ready to crash. Her sharp green eyes were bloodshot, her strong frame moving like she was fighting to stay upright. "Dad, can you grab these boxes?" she called from the driveway. "I brought some gear for your house." Lila had parked in the visitor spot, 30-minute limit, but she was unloading heavy boxes, including a high-tech security system to protect us after break-ins nearby. We were halfway done when her phone rang. Her face tightened as she checked the caller ID. "Gonna take this," she said, worry creeping into her voice. "It's about a trainee with a bad PTSD episode. Rough mission last year. The anniversary's hitting him hard." The call took 25 minutes. Lila sat on our couch, using her calm, commanding tone to talk the young soldier through breathing exercises, coordinating with his base for support. It was intense. She was pulling someone back from the edge, using skills she'd honed for elite operators. By the time she hung up, we'd forgotten about the Jeep. Lila looked drained, rubbing her temples. "Sorry," she sighed. "These kids carry so much weight. We train their bodies, but the mind? That's the real battle." Clara brought her water and ibuprofen, insisting she eat. "You need food," my wife said, reheating lunch. Leela nodded, eyes half closed from exhaustion. We were just sitting down when the doorbell went nuts, pounding like someone was trying to break it down. "Who's that?" I muttered. "Sounds like a SWAT raid." There stood Victor Kane, our self-styled security chief, decked out in a fake cop uniform with a sloppy HOA patch. At 58, this so-called fitness guru was itching for a fight. "Move that military junker now!" he barked. No hello, just a clipboard and a pen scratching out a violation. His mirrored sunglasses hid his smug eyes, but I could feel his glee. Victor lived for this. Fired from his mall security gig for roughing up a teen, he turned our HOA's rulebook into his personal power trip. Before I could answer, Leela stepped up, wiping her hands on a towel, her military poise kicking in despite her fatigue. "Sorry, sir," she said, polite but firm. "Just finished a brutal training session and a long drive. I had to unload gear and take an emergency call. I'll move it in 15 after I eat." Victor's scowl deepened. He'd been ruling Pinewood Estates for 8 years, ever since HOA President Olivia Grant gave him the security role. Kids feared him. Seniors avoided him. "Rules say 30 minutes, he snapped. "Tow truck is coming." Victor $300 plus a $500 fine. He puffed up, loving his moment. Lila stayed calm, but I saw her eyes narrow slightly. Uh-oh, he was pushing the wrong buttons. "Mr. Kane, surely there's some flexibility. I'm helping my parents after a 3-hour drive with no sleep. Just need 15 minutes. She leaned into elderly parents to appeal to his non-existent decency. Spoiler, he had none. Instead of backing off, Victor whipped out his phone, recording Lila inches from her face to provoke her. "Documenting your refusal to comply," he sneered. "I'm the authority here." Lila sighed, still calm. "I'm not refusing. I'm asking for a reasonable accommodation. I'll move it soon." She turned to go inside, but Victor grabbed her arm hard. "You don't walk away from me," he yelled. Big mistake. In a flash, Leela's training took over. She disarmed him with a swift move, sending him stumbling into Clara's rose bushes. The neighbors peeked out, stunned. Victor's sunglasses flew off, his face a mix of shock and fury. "You assaulted a security officer," he screamed, thorns snagging his uniform. "I'm getting the real cops." He stormed off, papers scattering. Leela looked shaken. "That was muscle memory," she said quietly. "When someone grabs you like that," she trailed off. Neither of us knew that 20 minutes later, Victor would pull a gun on her, forcing her to use every skill she'd learned. We heard car doors slamming. "He's back," I said, peering out. Victor marched up with 2 HOA lackeys, timid retiree Harold Vance and new resident Maria Lopez, a therapist who looked confused. Probably fed some lie about trespassers. Lila took a deep breath, using her SEAL calming techniques. "I've got this," she said, stepping onto the porch. "Stay back." Then it happened. Victor yanked a Glock 19 from his jacket, pointing it at Lila's face, his hand shaking. "On the ground!" he shouted. Playing TV cop. Harold paled. Maria gasped. "You didn't say guns!" Leela stood still, her brain clocking everything. 12 feet to Victor, Harold and Maria 5 feet back. Neighbors watching, his trembling trigger finger. In 2 seconds, she'd assessed it all. "Mr. Kane," she said, voice steady. "You're committing a felony. Lower the gun." Victor doubled down, screaming, "I'm the law here!" Spittle flew, his gun wobbling dangerously. Leela shifted forward, talking calmly like a hostage negotiator. "You feel disrespected. I get it. Let's talk without the gun. Think about prison. Is a parking spot worth it?" She inched closer, so subtle he didn't notice. Then, spotting his tightening grip, she moved. A sharp wrist strike, a twist, and she had the gun. 8 seconds of struggle, not Hollywood smooth, but real. Victor hit the lawn, arm locked, as Leela held the Glock safely. Neighbors were already calling 911. "Call the police," Leela told me, calm as ever. "Armed assault, weapon secured. Suspect may still be dangerous. Officer Martinez arrived, finding Leela restraining Victor amid scattered violation notices and crushed roses. She explained with military precision Victor's threat, her disarming him for safety. The firearms secured, magazine out, chamber clear, she said. Martinez nodded, impressed. Victor, cuffed in the patrol car, kept yelling about his authority. Neighbors gave statements, but 2 hours later at the station, things shifted. Olivia Grant waltzed in with Police Chief Baxter, buddies with her husband. Misunderstanding, Baxter said, barely glancing at the evidence. Victor was uncuffed, his gun returned, Baxter claiming it was Lila's word against his. Olivia smirked, untouchable. That night, we got word of an emergency HOA meeting to vote on evicting us, calling Lila unstable. Lila didn't flinch. She called her friend, lawyer Ethan Lee, who specialized in HOA overreach. "This is bigger than parking," she told him. "They've got the chief in their pocket." Ethan arrived, and we noticed neighbors avoiding us. Fear of Victor and Olivia's wrath was real. The Patels had their garden trashed for questioning rules. The Garcias got endless inspections for challenging fees. Lila and Ethan dug up dirt. Victor's sealed assault record. Baxter's cover-ups. And a real estate scam where targeted families sold low to Olivia's cronies. Our mailbox overflowed with fines. $500 for tall grass. $1,000 for Lila's security camera. $10,000 for disturbance. Water got shut off for maintenance, just our house, and Victor's car stalked us at night, headlights blazing. Clara couldn't sleep, but Leela stayed focused, her training kicking in. She set up cameras, catching Victor sabotaging our sprinklers. With Ethan and former HOA treasurer Sophia Cruz, they uncovered $600,000 in yearly dues funneled to Victor's security salary, Olivia's fake consulting firm, and Baxter's campaign fund. So Lee held secret resident meetings at Ethan's place, away from Victor's spies. People shared stories. The Martinezes fined for noisy kids. The Wilsons harassed over a handicap ramp. Retired Judge Arthur Hayes revealed a decade of evidence. Olivia made rules. Victor enforced them. Baxter buried complaints. It was a racket, forcing out undesirables for profit. Ethan contacted the FBI about Baxter's corruption. Then, Victor and Olivia sued Leela for $500,000, claiming defamation and danger. "They think they've cornered me," Leela said, grinning. "But I've got a plan. Operation Truth." The HOA meeting was electric. Olivia, smug as ever, pushed for our eviction. Leela raised her hand, citing bylaws for her right to respond. Arthur backed her up, quoting rules. Olivia fumed but relented. Leela's presentation was a knockout. Spreadsheets showing stolen dues, pie charts exposing fraud. Residents snapped photos, shouting down Olivia's interruptions. Victor lunged toward Leela, but neighbors blocked him. Then the doors swung open. Chief Larson from the next county and FBI agent Brooks. "Olivia Grant, Victor Kane, you're under investigation for fraud, embezzlement, and corruption." The room exploded. Olivia's gavel was useless as residents demanded answers. Sophia revealed years of financial fraud. Leela showed videos of Victor trespassing. Residents shared stories of harassment, from fined Christmas lights to targeted minorities. Victor was arrested. Unlicensed gun, assault, extortion. Olivia faced embezzlement charges. Baxter was suspended. The case sparked statewide HOA probes, exposing a national issue. Pinewood elected a new board, led by Elena Ruiz, who slashed fees 40%. Maria apologized to Leela, starting a friendship that helped residents heal. Leela's ace? She founded Shield Together, a nonprofit to fight HOA abuse. It offers free legal help, training to document harassment, and pushes for law changes. Within a year, it helped 30 communities nationwide. Pinewood became a model for fair HOAs, dubbed the Blaze Standard. Leela's workshops empower residents, and a documentary spread the story. At the 1-year anniversary, our community center glowed with new life. Kids played, neighbors laughed, fear gone. Leela spoke, "The worst enemies aren't always overseas. They're the petty tyrants in our neighborhoods. But a united community, that's unstoppable." The crowd roared. That Jeep sparked a movement. If you're facing your own victor, remember, true power comes from standing together. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories of justice.